Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze is sponsored by Cole Obarts Entertainment, providing amusement, celebration, and distraction since 2013. To find out more, visit us on the web at www.coleobartsent.com. We now return to Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze, sponsored today by Cole Obarts Entertainment. Learn more at coleobartsent.com.
Welcome back to Desertwood Days. I am your host, Kathy Blaze, and I'd like to welcome Dr. Tamika Sanders. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello there, beautiful.
Yes, hello.
Good to see you.
Good to see you also.
Been a while.
Yes.
So, last time I saw you, you weren't Dr. Tamika Sanders.
Yeah.
You've done a lot in your life since then. You became a wife, became a mother of twins.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. It's we go back to just a lot of times just modeling things when we were kind of being together. And so yeah, I started my doctorate in 2010. And right around the time when I was almost done, it was, I think I found out we were pregnant in like April of 2014. And I was just like, oh, me and my husband, well, my boyfriend at the time, Devon, we were together. We were just boyfriend and girlfriend. And we were going to get married, but after I finished my doctorate, which was going to be the end of that year. And then all of a sudden, found out we were pregnant, found out it was twins, and that just like sped everything up. And so, I mean, life since then has just been a really great, fun roller coaster.
Lovely. You know what? I love what you said. We were pregnant.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people say, I'm pregnant. I love that you said we were pregnant. You included him in that.
Yes. He was there a whole 100%. He was amazing.
Oh, my goodness. Now, Tamika, like you said, we met back in modeling and acting.
Yes.
Okay. What inspired you to get into modeling and acting?
Just acting since I was little. I've loved acting, but mostly stage, like theater acting. And so getting into film later, I started like around high school, college, and I was like, oh, this is fun.
Yeah.
But I think I always loved theater more because you get that instant gratification. You get that applause. You know you did a good job.
Yeah.
You do a film. You never know if anybody ever watched it. You don't know how they react to it. And it's very different, but
it's a different type of feeling.
It is different.
I have a friend that has a play that she's a part of, and she was like, this is her first time. And she was like, that was the best feeling. I said, it is the best feeling. It's a different kind of feeling. I mean, being in front of the camera on film is a great feeling also, but that stage feeling is so much different.
Yes, you get one chance to get it right? But a camera, you can take it 50, 30 times if you need to.
Yes.
Do it again.
Wait until the producers start giving you the evil eye.
Right, like if you don't get it right this time, right? I'll have to find somebody else.
Yeah.
But so I think that's what I love about theater also is that you get one time to get it right.
Yeah.
And you get an instant gratification from the audience.
Yes. So what is your doctorate in?
It's in higher ed. So it's a Doctor of Philosophy in Higher Education.
Okay, look at this. Our previous guest, she was a administrator in the school district, though, too. Hey, we got the educators here today. So I also know that you do spoken word. You also produced events yourself. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so spoken word, I've gotten to do spoken word in the Valley since high school and been with probably some of the most amazing kind of what we call the OGs in the poet community with HB, with Wisdom, with Divine. And I got an opportunity. I've had opportunities to host different shows for poetry and events, but I got a chance to direct a couple of things because one of the poets, Sean Avery, he was actually, I met him when he was part of Phonetic Spit's kind of Brave New Voices team, and they would take them, they would meet at Burton Bar Library with all of the teens from South Mountain High School.
I haven't heard that name in quite a while.
Yes, and it was Sean Avery, and so he was doing a show called Skinny Black, and it was about his life as being queer, being Black, being just all of these stereotypes that come with being Black and with being male. And I was able to and he was like, I want a director, and I want a Black director. And he was like, will you direct the show? And so amazing. We won awards, got to go to Chicago with it.
Awesome.
And they do their, it's just been a great time.
That is awesome.
An amazing gift.
That is one thing I love about the arts. You know, what people think, oh, they're just speaking, or they're just dancing, or they're just doing this. Those know what they're doing is pulling out stuff. Releasing stuff that's been in there for a long time. So, Tamika, where do you pull from when you're on that stage? Because I've seen you, girl, and you know what? You're going somewhere when you're there on stage. I mean, you have this beautiful smile. We're talking, but when you're on stage, you've left yourself and you've gone somewhere. Where are you going? Where do you pull from?
Oh, that is a really good question. I think all actors are like, where do you pull from? It's life. But you know what? Sometimes I'm playing characters that have done things that I will never do, gone places that I probably may never go. And I just try to put myself in that space. But I also pull from different people in my life, different things that I might have seen, whether it's movies and other shows. And I just try to bring that there. I used to be, believe it or not, really shy. And theater was the thing that got me out of being shy. Because in front of people, I could barely talk to people. My head was down. I was very shy. But when I got on that stage, it's because I wasn't thinking about me anymore. I was able to really embrace a character. And so I try to do that. When I get on that stage, I'm like, this is not me. If you still see Tamika on that stage, then I'm not doing it right. And so that's...
And that's what I said. I didn't see Tamika on that stage. You were somewhere, and that's what I love about this industry and spoken word, because you're being very vulnerable. You're there in front of people, just like the gentleman you were speaking of. He's speaking of his truth and the things that he's experienced in his life. So he's being very vulnerable, putting it out there. A lot of times their own family haven't heard some of these things. So I really applaud you for being able to do that. And as you stated, being a person that used to be shy, you're doing something you would have never done before. Because I know that feeling of being that person as a kid, wanting to try out for cheerleading, knew how to do the splits, knew how to do the routines. But when it was time to go and try out, my legs wouldn't let me go in that room. They was up here saying, Callie, don't you go up in there. So I truly understand that, and the arts is amazing. This industry is amazing. That's why I love showcasing so many people like yourself, because you bring out things that there's someone sitting out there that say, I can do that. I need to do that. I need to do that. I need to release those feelings. And you're showing them that they can do it. So as a spoken word artist, how do you get started?
With words, sometimes it's so funny. It's almost like a painter with, or a photography. Sometimes you just see something and it strikes you and you have to just write. And there are times where I see a movie, or I hear a line, or I see a picture and I'm walking by, or I hear someone's story, and it just immediately, I'm like, I need something to write with. And I think I've wrote amazing poems in my head because I didn't have something to like record or write it down,
Oh,
and then it's gone,
girl,
right?
girl, you got an
But
iPhone.
oh, I know. And now, yes, I keep it because you just never know when
I
it's gonna
know.
come. And so that's how it is. It sometimes it hits you, and then other times I I used to get this what you call writer's block, and I was
Uh-huh.
like, this is not writer's block. You have to be able to get out of that,
Yeah.
and I want to be able to write on command. If there's something I want to write about, I want to be able to do it. So I started every day. I would pull 5 words, just 5 random words out of somewhere, and I would make myself write something.
Yes.
And it could be short, it could be long, and it got me into being able to write on command
Yeah.
because I'm not always going to be affected, especially with the pandemic for 2 years. I was by
Right.
myself. You know, I have my
Yes.
kiddos, but it's almost
It's
like
totally
Groundhog's Day.
different.
So I wasn't
Yes.
getting inspired to write anything new, and I had to figure out how to get out of that slump, and that's what I started doing. And I can write on
That's
command.
a great idea.
Mhm.
And I tell you, I have tons of tablets all over the place.
Yes.
My phone is full of notes.
Yeah.
A lot of notes from my mom saying, bring me this from the store.
Yeah.
But I have tons of notes in my phone from
Yeah.
things that I want to remember or
Yeah.
something I want to write or do, whatever. I just have tons of notes. I love that advice that you've given that because you know what that can be used in so many different areas of our life.
Yeah.
I mean, writing just for self-care.
Mhm.
There's just so much we can use that advice for. So we were speaking about your lovely family, being a model and actress, spoken word, but you also do a lot in the community. Um, what motivates you to keep going, Tamika? With having a family, working, and everything else, what keeps you motivated to do community stuff?
Because we live in a community. It's like I can't go anywhere. I can't go to the store. I can't take my kids to school and not see the community there.
Right.
And so, and then I always go back and I feel like I've been so blessed. How can I help other people?
Right.
How can I be a resource or give advice? And so one of the things that I pride myself on is working with schools in that K through 12 kind of environment. And helping teachers really going in and doing kind of helping them look at curriculum. How do they make it more diverse? How do they give students more agency in the learning so that they can take that learning outside of the classroom and really make it relevant to them, right? So some of those fun presentations I get to do are about Black history or women's history or bullying. But also
some of the areas we really need to be touching,
right. But also like the fun things, looking at math, and some people go, oh, math is horrible. I don't want to do this. But then go in and go in there like geometry or something and say, hey, go outside, take this camera with you. And I want you to go take pictures of 90-degree angles, of obtuse angles, all of these, take pictures. And then so every time now when they go in and they bring the pictures back, every time, even when I look in a room like this, I can see all of the triangles, all the rectangles, all the angles, because I'm never going to look at it the same way again. And that's math, right? Or chemistry, asking people, hey, you got a lot of, this periodic table. It doesn't look that cool, but let's go ahead and go get 5 of your favorite things you like to eat, or a canned food, or soup, or something you like. Go look on the back of that ingredient, write down all those chemicals on there, because that's what they are, and then go look them up. Then it starts making sense, because then they go, whoa, I didn't know that was in my food. So it's really going into learning and flipping it, so it's not just they're sitting at a desk, learning about things that they don't feel like they're ever going to use, but you make it come to life for them. And so really helping teachers how to do that, right? And then they're excited about learning and they want to keep going, and they're going to remember it forever.
Right. Because one thing, there's not one way. Everyone learns differently. So you have to find a way that the kids are going to accept it.
Yep.
And that's the thing, is accepting it.
Yes.
Because it may not be something that's above you.
Yep.
Or too hard for, a lot of times I think, oh, math is hard.
Right.
Okay, but it's not that it's too hard. It's just that you're not accepting it.
Yeah.
Because it's boring. You think it's boring, but you have to find a way to teach it so that the children understand. See, she just took us to school. I was that kid. I'm like, I don't like math. And that was what one of my teachers told me, is that someone either told you it's too hard for you, or you done told yourself that, or
There
you
you
don't
go.
like it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I didn't, it was too hard. I just didn't put enough time into it.
Yeah. Or someone didn't show you how to use it,
Mm.
right? But for example, if they're thinking of, you know, this shoe, I want to make a shoe, or I want to make this dress, or I want to fly my paper airplane and like make it go so far. Like there's math involved there. And if you
Right.
get to show people those things, baseball's an easy one that you can do for like stats of getting baseball. Their different home runs and innings and all of that. That's like a really good one because then they get it. They're like, oh.
Right.
But if you do that with basketball, you do it with any sport, and
all those
you
things
break
that they
down,
enjoy doing.
you break down the math of
Right.
how they got all of those and how they get their averages to know how many yards they ran or whatever.
She's making my head hurt
I
when
know,
all this
I
math
know,
here.
I know. But you know, but
I
that's,
love
I
it.
had to get someone to get interested
Yes.
in me because the same way, because I was just like, okay, this isn't. When am I ever going to use this? And if
Right.
we don't show kids, or not to say kids, we don't show students in school
Right.
how they can actually use it, then they're not engaged. And even
That's
as adults,
true.
we as adults don't like learning new stuff.
Right.
If we think that it's not going to benefit us, we're like, when am I ever going to use this?
Right.
I don't need to learn
and
that.
we turned it to adults and stopped using
and we
what
stopped using
and
it.
we stopped using what we learned.
Exactly.
But I know that you also brought some media for us today. I'd like to take a look at that and see what's going on here.
My family.
Oh, how beautiful. So these are the twins.
Yep, Azure and Dakari, and my husband Devon.
Oh,
And this is our trip in Hawaii
oh, beautiful.
that we took last year in October.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how'd the kids enjoy Hawaii?
They loved it. All of the water and the rocks. They had a blast. They were exploring. They
In
had
a
really
different
good time.
environment. And
Yeah.
sometimes we need to be in a different environment to create it.
Yes.
Yes. And what do we have here?
This is a show that we did for, it was with Sam Hamadi, the Hamadi. And it was for looking at kind of different kind of art. And so this was a dress that I got to wear.
Oh, okay.
This was a really fun show. This was a virtual fashion show, and the dress I'm wearing is from Zoe Sarbo, for Sarbo. And it was a fun virtual photo shoot because it was during COVID. And so we were on South Mountain. So we had to all walk up in heels on this mountain.
Wow.
Like straight up. And then the shoot, we walked down and around, but it was the most funnest thing. But this is one of the photos that came out of that. Yay. These are my talks. So one of the things I love getting to do is talk about Black History Month or Black Wall Street. This is one where I was working with Lake Havasu, their campus, and really put together, they were going to be doing a project about Black Wall Street and taking their students. And so I did a presentation, almost like a kickoff presentation about what was Black Wall Street, like what happened then and now, because there's still elements of it that are there, and kind of what happened in the aftermath of what happened with the bombing, because many people don't know that they did rebuild the city after that. It's just once segregation or desegregation came in, the city kind of started just dispersing. It wasn't just Black owned anymore.
Okay. And who put that in? Was that in Mesa Community?
No, that was Lake Havasu Community College.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And what do we have here?
And this is one, I am part of AZ Speaks. So it's a really great program with Arizona Humanities where they offer free speakers to K through 12 schools on a variety of topics. And I'm usually in there. This is one of my ones that was in there about kind of just the coded messages and how people got through the Underground Railroad. So the songs and everything.
Wonderful. You know what I love? I absolutely love what you're doing, because we're living in a time where certain things they're trying to remove certain things.
Yes.
So we have to keep it out there.
Yeah.
And if it can be done in the school systems, we have to do it elsewhere.
Right.
So we need people like you to continue to do what you're doing. So thank you. So what's up next for Miss Dr. Tamika Sanders?
A lot. I am actually, so I have my business Savvy Pin, but I'm also now working with the bank, and the with the bank that I'm working with, I get to lead a lot of projects where I get to go back into the community and find different nonprofits to fund.
Okay.
So a lot of what we do is what we call in the innovation economy. So it's technology, healthcare, life science, but there's also this other component of just community building and reinvestment. And so I'm getting to like find a lot of those organizations and ones that I love to help get them funding, get them and see what we can do as far as capacity to help them grow and continue doing the work that they do.
Do you have a criteria that is it a criteria that you're putting together, or is it a criteria that the bank has?
It's a criteria that the bank has.
Okay.
But my long-term goal, what that I'm looking for, is to create a foundation that me and my husband own, and then be able to add in a few other kind of entrepreneurs or investors that want to help to be able to then fund different types of loans and grants and things to support different community initiatives.
Wonderful.
So,
and it's awesome to hear about things like that where we have private and public organizations that's doing things. They help nonprofits that are helping the arts and different organizations. So where can our audience find you, Tamika?
My website, savvypin.com. But you can also just find me out in the community. I love going to open mics. Home base is back. So HB does that now at least once a month. You can find me there. If there's a fashion show, you can find me there as well. But I'm here. I'm always out and about with my family and with friends.
Well, thanks for joining us today. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's Miss Savvy Pin.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us here today at Desertwood Days, and we'll catch you next time.